When we think of space, we naturally think of the stars, solar systems, galaxy, the distant reaches of the universe.
But space has another dimension to explore, not outward, but inward, into all the basic elements of everything there is on our planet.
Here, a miniature world of space exists, a world filled with constant motion, one that went undetected for centuries. It is the world of the atom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the Free Radical Media Podcast. I am Eric Scott Picard, ESP, joined as ever by my co-host, Patrick. And tonight we're going to be talking to the Traveling Family. This is Brad Daniels and Christine Johnson. All right, Brad and Christine are joining us from Florida today. But they're not always in Florida because they're often traveling the country. They have a business model, a platform that has allowed them to kind of liberate themselves from having to tie themselves to one location, have the 9 to 5. And it's a really interesting tale of how this came to be. So let's talk to Brad and Christine. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, doing pretty good.
Yeah, so I guess we found this platform, and my background is sales and business development. I was working ridiculous hours, like 50, sometimes 70 hours a week. Sitting in peak hour traffic for an hour or a couple of hours a day, just pretty much just hating life, hating where I was. Yeah, do you want to share a bit about where you were?
Yeah, sure. And I was at a job where work was really unstable, and I didn't like that because I didn't know how long of a stretch until my next paycheck. And so one day we were out in Ojai, California at a spiritual plant ceremony for ayahuasca. Mm-hmm. And we were just walking along this beautiful river, and we were just really taken in by the beauty of nature. And we decided that we wanted more of that in our lives. It shouldn't just be once in a while when we get away and experience that. We really that's what made us happy, So
yeah.
We were just sitting by this riverbed up in Ojai, and there was big boulders, just running water, and it's like when you're so in the city life. And I don't know, this is like this for everyone, but when you're so big buildings and just like houses everywhere, and then when you actually get out into nature and it just doesn't even look real, it looks like it's part of like a movie set or something.
Yeah.
I get that all the time, and we made the decision there and then that we were like, this is what we're doing is actually crazy. We're not living. We're working. It's just, let's go out and actually explore and do something with our life and actually, live a life that we're going to enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Like a kind of that's how human beings are supposed to live, right? So I understand the frustration. Certainly, I think most people do. Is like, you're working all these hours every week, and for what, and when you get out into a natural setting like that, especially if you have a transformational experience, it kind of just breaks that whole paradigm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And, something that I really like is I don't actually know when the weekend is anymore. Sometimes people ask me, like, for example, sometimes I go to the bank and people will say, oh, so how was your weekend? And I'm like, Oh, was it the weekend? I had somebody actually laugh, like they thought I was joking, and I was like, no, really, it, is it Tuesday or? So it's a really nice feeling.
Yeah, you're kind of on your own time, right? You're making your own time. I mean, that's fantastic.
You're basically your own boss, and you just plan your schedule, like how many hours you're going to spend on your laptop per day, and make sure you have Wi-Fi. And then we just basically go to all the different places that we find beautiful that we've always wanted to explore. We've been to so many places in such a short period of time. Basically, that day next to the river, at the ceremonies, we decided, okay, how are we going to do this? So we had a business opportunity that had just came to us, and at the same time, we were like, okay, well, we can do that and travel as long as we have internet. So let's get an RV. So we looked at RVs, and we ended up looking for a couple weeks at all these different RVs. But it was like it was divinely planned for us to have the RV we wanted, because the very first RV out of like dozens and dozens that we looked at, the one that we ended up picking was the very first one that was shown to us. And it was just perfect for us. And it's a 29-foot RV. And yeah, so it's pretty awesome. Like,
Yeah, it is. Like, it does everything we need. It's sort of like, with we gave like most of our stuff away, and like tried to just totally simplify our life. And the RV's got everything. It's got couches, dinner tables, the kitchen sink, everything like that.
you can even bake if you want to. It has an oven. It has a shower. I was actually just thinking that this morning. I was laying in bed and I was thinking, wow, this is a fairly small size of space compared to a normal house, but I have everything that I need, and I actually don't feel crowded. Like, just with me and Brad and our little baby parrot Bobby, it's just the three of us. So it's very liberating to get rid of all your shit, just
Right.
Totally.
get rid of it, and it feels so good. And we just have the amount of clothes that we need, and our laptops, and our cameras, and it feels really good.
No, yeah, I'm sure it does, and you hit the nail on the head there. Like liberating, it just seems like such a liberating experience, right? Just throw away your possessions. Quit going to the job that you don't want to be at anyway. And do what you want to do and travel. I mean, it sounds fantastic. So you guys have this experience. You make this decision, right? You get the RV. I mean, first of all, how long have you guys been living this lifestyle?
Since June.
We hit the road.
June 1st.
June 1st is when we actually left. So we've been about 4 months now.
Has it only been 4 months?
Yeah.
June, July, August, September.
Well, coming up 5, is it?
Okay, about 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been it's been an unreal experience, and just being out and seeing, like, Yosemite and Zion National Parks and
Bryce Canyon.
Yeah, Bryce Canyon, just like amazing places. Just like you feel so small when you're out in these massive canyons. And
another thing is that I feel like when we're in what we all call the cement jungle, these big cities, with all the Wi-Fi running through you and all the different electromagnetic pollution, it just feels so good to get out of that, because it's just you have this peace, this sense of open spaciousness, peace that's just inside of you and outside of you, and you just feel connected to the earth and the fresh air. And the thing that I think really got us the most is at nighttime when we walk outside and we can see what looks like every single star in the sky, and the stars are so bright and they're just full of stars, and it just I forgot the stars look like that.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly. That's my favorite part of just getting out of the urban areas. And you have to go pretty far until you start seeing stars like they're meant to be seen. But that is like my favorite part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you'll be able to put up some photos. We've got some really good ones that we took out in Bryce Canyon, and you can literally see the Milky Way as clear as day. It's so prominent, and yeah, we'll have to send you some of those. But yeah, it's unreal. Like that, I think. Like I would, everyone has seen this massive sort of shift in myself in the last probably 12 months. Um, call it a spiritual awakening, call it whatever, but just waking up to what is. And like I was all at a stage in my life, like I was all about like the fanciest hotels, eating out at really expensive restaurants, and drinking it all the time, and all that sort of stuff. But now it's like I would much rather be totally away from all that, because it's all just like material, just rubbish, and just actually get out and set up a tent in the middle of nowhere, and just a little campfire, and just chill under the stars, and just take it all in and just enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and it is kind of an awakening that you have to have, I suppose, because we get so indoctrinated into this consumerist society, where it's just, I mean, it's very oppressive, and it's kind of soul crushing, and it's nice that when you're able to like remove yourself from it, you actually start feeling like a human being again.
Yeah. Yeah, because I noticed exactly what you say. Yeah, because I remember when I was in Los Angeles, just living there on a day-to-day basis, a lot of the time I felt like my ego would kind of just take me over a bit, the crazy running monkey mind. And I mean, it's definitely still there, but getting out and connecting with the earth again, yes, like you said, feeling like a human being of the earth, it just really makes you feel more sane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just better for you emotionally and spiritually and psychologically, I think.
Totally. And we have the deepest dreams when we sleep out in a tent under the stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I imagine just living that way is just better. You know what I mean? I imagine most parts of your day-to-day life are just better than most other people's, because you were able to remove yourself kind of from having to, well, again, the rat race,
Yeah.
and all the associated worries and concerns that come with it.
I think, and this is something that I don't get to say too often, but because we're all like-minded here, the system itself, like the monetary system, and what this whole thing is, it's basically that just they're trying to make people poorer, trying to keep the poor, and really just I think we all know it's a slavery system. And I think what we've actually found now is that if people actually work together, and like currency is was if used right, was supposed to flow from person to person, and have everyone be able to live a good standard of have a good standard of living. And that was the original purpose, but now it's just people like the banks hoarding, and all that sort of stuff, and the wealth is within 1% of the population, or what have you.
Yeah.
People, and that's what I'm starting to realize now, is if people work with each other and just distribute wealth between each other, they can create a much better lifestyle for themselves and for everyone else involved. And I guess that's what we do at the moment. That's what our business is based around. So, and yeah.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. We talk a lot about on this show that people need to take responsibility for building their own communities, right? So we can separate ourselves from those institutions. We can separate ourselves from the big banking system, the major capitalist system, and we can do things, in our own community groups among each other, horizontally without all those institutions. It's completely possible to step aside from all those things, you know, and kind of live your own life, and it sounds to me like that's kind of what you guys have done is you've, formed networks of people that you can interact with, that you can, you can kind of sidestep the normal, the normal function of making money and capitalism and, et cetera.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and that's what I'm starting to see. Like, that's a big picture sort of, revelation that I've, come to that conclusion anyway. So
it's pretty exciting too, because we're actually, Brad and I have been talking about going somewhere with some beautiful land that has good soil, that hasn't been disrupted, contaminated by GMOs or pesticides. And we're thinking about Belize, because that's down a part of Central America, right next to Guatemala and right under Mexico. And they have some beautiful lands there that are just perfect for what we want. So whether it's there or whether it's somewhere else, we actually want to build our own community where we can all help each other and all share, and have a huge organic garden for the community. And everybody just, I guess it's just going back to a more natural way of life. And I'm not saying that we won't use money, but it's just such a nice thought to know that when we all come together, everybody could just use their own talents, their own things that they're good at, and contribute that to the community,
Totally.
And everyone share duties. And I guess that's what community is supposed to really all be about. I remember when I was a little kid, my mom used to tell me, okay, can you go over to the neighbor and ask if we can have a couple of eggs and half a cup of sugar? And I'd be like, sure. And the neighbors would be like, here you go. Tell your mom I said hi. And then as I got older, it seemed like our sense of community in general, it just started to phase out. And now most people don't even know their neighbors.
Exactly.
So to bring that back, that's what gives us our power. We are strong when we are together,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it seems like there's a big movement toward this, just in recent years, because we are so alienated from other people. I mean, you're right. People don't know their neighbors anymore. And there are, especially in South America, it's really interesting. A lot of these little intentional communities, like you're talking about, sustainable agriculture, and, organic food, I really like that. I think that's something that's positive.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of, I mean, that's Christine's, that's been a dream of hers for quite some time now. And then it's like the more I sort of, awaken or, whatever you want to call it, the more I sort of see the big picture. I definitely think that's a way to go,
Sure.
Just being able to, like, people deserve to live lives where they don't have to be under so much pressure to survive. It's like under like the scarcity of money, and that shouldn't be a burden on it shouldn't be a burden on anyone.
Yeah, and it's ironic too, because what you guys are doing is people will try to label it as radical or fringe, but if you really think about it, it's the most natural thing. Humans have been living like that for tens of thousands of years. And it's only recently that we've lived in this, ultra individualistic, highly pressured lifestyle. And now stepping out of it, everyone looks at you like you're some sort of like, fringe nut job, but it's like
Yeah.
we're doing the most human thing possible.
I know, right? It kind of reminds me of supposed what we call alternative medicine. It's not alternative. It's the main medicine. It comes from the earth. The earth was here before any of Western medicine, pharmaceuticals, or anything like that. It's like, so I think it's just the conditioning that we've been brought up with in society to think, and that's okay, But the beautiful thing about it is Brad and I we're helping to wake a lot of people up to what opportunities are out there for people and how easily it's within their grasp. It's like, I guess, it's not for everyone. If people really like their big houses and their fancy cars and they want to keep making payments every month because they want to have those nice things, then that's okay. So that makes people really happy sometimes. But Brad and I and many other people that we know, we just really find so much freedom and excitement in life to be able to not be held down and to not be paying tons of money for rent every month. And it's really exciting. It's like one big adventure, really.
Yeah, I mean, we've done some cool stuff. Like we road tripped from California to Florida last month, and just the places you see, and the people you meet along the way. You're always meeting different people. You're always meeting cool new people, especially in the RV parks. So it's an adventure, It's like it's just excitement. So
Yeah, sure, and then your entire life becomes that. You know what I mean? It becomes an adventure. There's none of that none of that kind of existential boredom that everybody feels.
Right, or leaving the adventure for Saturday and Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. And then, like, another thing that I really like is it kind of awakens like something inside of me that was afraid before. Like what I mean is living life inside a box, like a boxed life. Like, okay, I have my security of my home, I have my security of all my stuff I like in my closet, and I have everything just the way I like it here. If that was to be taken away from you in an instant, how would you feel inside? What would you do? It kind of being on the road, it gives me a sense of feeling of like the earth is my home, and to live in the moment instead of like just, I don't know, the sense of security. It's like it just helps you to not worry so much. It just helps you to relax and be in the moment and just go wherever life takes you, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, I could totally see that. This sense of this insulation they put everyone in, insulating us with these quote unquote comforts, end up becoming more of prison chains than actual comforts or real security, I should say.
Being able to put yourself in any situation in life, and in that moment be able to stay centered within yourself and be present, just be completely present with whatever is. And I just find that this kind of lifestyle has really allowed me to have more of that.
From a business perspective, how have you guys leaving the rat race, how has it affected your creativity with your business?
You certainly, like it, we have a lot of our time goes into blogging and writing, because it's all about, we use what's called attraction marketing, if you will, to attract like-minded people who want the same and who want to get out of the 9-to-5 rat race. So a lot of our job is to really first and foremost inspire that in people, like for people who are just like, they hate their job but they're not sure what to do. Well, there is options, so we have to inspire that in people. So we have to write blog posts and write advertisements and write
and take lots of beautiful photos to show people what we're doing, because people are really attracted to photos, not just what you type.
Yeah. So, and that is like there's no shortage of amazing things to be able to write about, to be able to take photos of when you're on the road, and um, um, I mean, coming from Australia as well, and like I never knew much about the States, as in like what was actually inland. I knew the big cities, and I'd been around to LA, New York, and San Fran, but I had no idea how beautiful the country was once you actually got outside of that. And it's like I've been all over Australia, and Australia's beautiful, got some nice beaches, but like Australia has nothing on the States. So if people have not explored the USA, they need to. So.
Yeah, it is beautiful land. It is, most certainly. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have a great creative process then, I mean, and that's good too. It's healthy.
Yeah, it's like we're definitely, I guess, our creativity to give you a more a simpler answer. Just being around all this stuff is definitely inspires our creativity and for us to be creative in the way that we operate. So yeah.
Well, sure. You think it'd go hand in hand with the creative process. I can't see how you could expect someone to be highly creative when they're stuck working a job that they absolutely hate, 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It gives no room for that because you're just thinking about what's your next move to pay the bills and to run the errands and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of mind numbing. It's not very conducive to writing or engaging with art at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it also gives us a lot more time to spend with our what most people would call a pet, but we just call him our kid because that's really what he is. He spends literally 24/7 with us. Anywhere we go, he goes. And he's a 1-year-old African gray parrot, and he has so much personality, and it just really gives us a lot more time to spend with him and to really like have him have a good upbringing, and he already knows how to talk so well, and he's developed such a great personality. And
yeah, they're really good talkers. They're really smart African greys.
Smartest breed of bird in the world.
Yeah, it's really impressive. I've been around a lot of them. They're it's really funny how well they understand,
Yeah. I mean, he sort of when he sees something that like we're in the RV, just to put a picture out there, he's the driver's seat is his throne, so he's got some sheets thrown over that, and he's got his little toy hanging off the roof, and that's his little throne. And whenever like if he sees something that he wants, for instance, like a nut bar or like some apples, like I share an apple with him every morning, he will, like as soon as he sees something that he wants, he's like, here Bob, his name's Bobby. So and like because he remembers, like when we give him something, we'll say here Bob, and like he's just like straight on it, here Bob, because he knows like that's how he tells us that he wants something. And then if he's been a naughty boy, and sometimes he is, we put him in his cage, and as soon as he goes in there, he starts saying, good boy, Bob, I love you, Bob, because he's trying to tell us that he's been a good boy. He wants to come out.
That's funny.
And believe it or not, I told Brad, and Brad didn't believe me at first when we first adopted Bobby back in January of this year. But I told him, I said, you watch and see. I was like, we're going to get him potty trained. And he's probably about 80% potty trained already.
It can be done, yeah. I mean,
he actually goes in the garbage can or the toilet, or like say we'll be shopping at Whole Foods and I'll see a garbage can at the end of the aisle. I'll just hold him over the garbage can. I'll say, Bobby, go poop. And most of the time he does. I just put him back on my shoulder.
That's funny. But what are your future plans? I mean, you're in Florida right now, right?
Yeah. Well, we're gonna explore Florida for a bit, and we'll I dare say that we will see out the year here, and just to, just to explore, go down the Keys, spend some time in the Keys, and spend some time in Miami, the Everglades, all that sort of stuff. Whether or not that is, 2 or 3 months worth of living, time will tell. But we're very spontaneous, and I guess that is one of the benefits of doing what we're doing, is we can literally make the decision to do whatever we want when we want.
Because as long as we have an internet connection, and we don't even have to have an internet connection every day, just maybe like 4 days a week. Yeah. But we'll just make the decision to go, hey, you know what? Does it sound good to go to this waterfall or to go on this amazing hike or something? And we'll just be like, yeah, let's do it. And so we'll just drive there. But what we do is we try to be smart with our gas. So if we go to a beautiful, say, national park, for example, say Zion's National Park, we stayed there like a good almost 2 weeks. But there's a lot to do there. There's no need to rush, so that really is just the beauty of it. We really don't plan a whole lot.
I know, like we at some stage we want to get up to do the road trip up the East Coast. So and I wouldn't mind getting back to do some mountain biking in Moab in Utah and a bit of rock climbing there, but it's all sort of just up in the air at the moment. We're the next 2 months we'll be in Florida, and then we've got to work out whether we're going to move to move to Belize in Central America or Kauai in the Hawaiian Islands. They're the two we're sort of tossing up. So yeah.
Yeah, well, those sound like great options.
Yeah.
I would certainly don't come up the East Coast until after the winter, because it gets miserable up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's beautiful country up like and around Appalachia and Ohio and Michigan and stuff, the Midwest. And then over in New England, but yeah, it's not a place you want to get caught in the winter.
Well, that's why we came to Florida, is because we really wanted to miss out on all that cold weather. So.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, it sounds great though. It sounds like such a liberating kind of lifestyle. It's you can just stay somewhere for 2 weeks if you want. You know what I mean? That you could pick up and go. It's
By the way, I would like to tell you where we are actually right now. Okay, so you know how normally if you have one of those grandfather clocks, they go off every hour, right, to remind you of the hour. Here, about once an hour, we have lions actually roaring so loud, and we can hear them from the RV. We're staying in this really awesome RV park that's a part of 320 acres of open land that was 40 years ago. African animals were put here just to be like what's it called? The safari tours in Africa. It's supposed to be like that. So 40 years ago, somebody took this huge piece of land and put rhinoceroses and zebras and lions and monkeys and all these African animals, and we're right smack in the middle of it, and we can hear them all day long. I've heard the monkeys. I've heard the lions all day.
Elephants.
Yeah, the elephants.
What an interesting place to stumble across. That's really interesting.
I can't even remember how we come across it. I think I was Googling RV parks in Palm Beach, because we were leaving Orlando and we thought, we'll come to Palm Beach and check this out. And I think I said to Christine, I think I read it out and told her what this place was, and she's like, "Yep, we're going there."
Yeah.
All right.
And it's cheap. It's really cheap. It's so cool.
Yeah. So it's called Lion Country Safari, and it's a KOA campground. It's like $500 for an RV for a month. It's I think $560. So we're gonna
about $600 after tax.
Yeah, so we're just gonna stay here and we'll check out the whole facility here. And we're only like probably 15 minutes from the actual beach itself as well. So it's pretty central location.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic.
Interesting.
What's been the most interesting thing you've come across traveling across the U.S.?
Most interesting.
Mine was something I did recently, or something we did recently, was hiking into, I don't know if you ever heard of it, Havasu Falls in the village of Havasupai.
Yeah, okay.
In the Grand Canyon. And it's not supposed to be a day hike. And we're on a time schedule to get to Florida for the mastermind event that we had that we're at recently, and I wasn't missing that. I wanted to see these missing it, so we decided that we were going for it, and it was a 12-hour hike. It was we spent about an hour or about 45 minutes, I think it was, swimming around the waterfalls, but it was 20 miles in and back, and it was a long hike. But seeing these waterfalls was like something else. The water was like a really light, it was deep, like a really light blue. And it was awesome to be able to. It was just like an oasis in the middle of the desert, the middle of the Grand Canyon.
Red rock and
just surrounded by the Grand Canyon, and then just an awesome little oasis that you just wouldn't even think would be there.
Yeah, God, that does sound great. I've actually seen some of the pictures from that that you posted from that. I do recommend for everybody, check out, some of their blog posts and their pictures. I mean, there's some really amazing sites you guys have been to.
Yeah, my favorite is visiting Zion's National Park at a hike called the Narrows. And the Narrows, I don't know if you guys have done it or not, but it's these massive, tall, it's a slot canyon. So you're hiking through the slot canyon with water trickling down the side of the rock everywhere. So there's like all this moss and green stuff growing on the walls. And then eventually you get to the river and you just hike right through the river. And it's just one of those things that you actually have to be there to experience it, to know what it's like. Pictures absolutely do not do it justice. And it's one of the best hikes I've ever done in my life.
Interesting. You guys mentioned earlier on that really one of your primary goals is to serve yourself, to be an example for others. What kind of feedback have you gotten? I mean, have you motivated anyone to quit their jobs or,
Yeah. It's you can.
I just wanted to say that the very first experience that really put a smile on my face was after we had only been on the road for a few weeks, and there was a guy who was living in, was it Finland? No.
It was somewhere in Europe, Finland or Denmark or something like that.
No.
Norway.
Norway, that's it. He was living in Norway, and he contacted me to tell me that I inspired him to do the same, and he had always wanted to go to China, and so he was an engineer, and he actually hated his job. He said he was making good money, but he just hated it, so he quit, and he went to China, and he showed me all these photos of him exploring China. And turns out China wasn't as exciting as he thought it was going to be. but he was really happy that he left that job that he didn't like. And he was telling me about all the exciting places that he was about to go to next. And so he just was like, thank you. And I was like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of, first when I tell people what I'm doing, I got the... what are you, crazy? What, you nuts? Like,
yeah.
Like, what's wrong? Have you lost the plot? I said, no, I like I like to prove people wrong. So I was like, yeah, like they were saying that it's not sustainable, you'll never last. I was like, all right, we'll see. So and 5 months later we're still going, and we're not going to stop anytime soon. So but like every day we get messages from people like telling us their goals and what they want to do, and like asking us, how do we do it? Can we help them? All that sort of stuff. So, and we're working closely with a bunch of people, and it's just growing this network of people that we're in. With everyone wants the same thing. Everyone helps each other. It's like
nobody feels threatened. Like for example, if I know something that has really boosted our success and I find useful, I am not going to feel intimidated if you're a part of our what we call our tribe, because that's really what it is. To tell another tribe member, by the way, try this out. It really helped me. I think it could help you in your business as well. Because the internet is so huge. There's so many people out there. It's like there's so many fish in the sea, you can't fish them all. Yeah. So we're all here to help each other. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of the best things about it actually is that, going from all friends back home and that, not all of them, but some of them. I've got probably 5 people that told me I was crazy, blah blah blah. But then when I actually started meeting new people, and the people we're inspiring, who are actually who like the same thing as us, who want to do the same thing, and then you actually, it's the best part. You build friendships, you build new friendships, and they're based on, everyone getting out. Everyone getting what they came here for, basically, and living their life the way they want to live it. So
mutual aid, mutual support, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's real friendships. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna be friends with you because I can get something from you, or it's gonna help my status. Or it's real friendships because there's no competition in our business community.
Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of built on, like a sustainable relationship, a community model, and that's beautiful. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the like the network type businesses, people or that's portrayed that like people are quick to say, scam, all that sort of stuff. But if you look at it as a concept of how it can actually help people by people working together, as opposed to in the current system where they're trading their time for money, and it's only it's getting less and less. People get, I think in America it's 2 weeks annual leave. From what I understand, Australians are really lucky. They don't know how lucky they are. They get 4 weeks annual leave. But it's still a system that is designed to keep people poor, and by people working together, they can create, if it's done right, they can create a lot of wealth together. So
sure. What is exactly what is the name of the business model that you guys use?
It's where Chris Jones has created it. So it's iPass 2, and that's also linked to Empower Network, and it's basically a big, not everyone's spiritual, but there's a big spiritual community involved with both these platforms.
Yeah, for example, when we went to the mastermind that we just attended for a week, we all stayed at this big mansion, and every day we would begin with, if people wanted to do yoga, we do that. Qigong, people talk about setting your intention and the law of attraction, and all of these things are really, really important in our, I guess, our business community.
Yeah.
I mean that's pretty positive, though. You know, you're working in, you know, a lot of other practices, a lot of friendships and relationships, you know, all within the same model. I mean, that's nice.
Yeah.
You know, tell us a little bit about the mastermind event you were just at.
Wow, it was so much fun. It pretty much everybody there was, I mean, okay, everyone's really open-minded, real spiritual people, and a lot of fun. And yeah, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, it was like I thought I'd been in some big houses before, but this place was just the biggest house I've ever been into.
It has a
Although
bowling alley in it.
although my like beliefs and everything have aligned, so or totally like not aligned from where we were spending our time in this massive mansion, which I think is just a huge waste of space. We did have a lot of fun in it. We did have a lot of fun in it.
We even had a Halloween party.
Yeah, like they had a bowling alley, a basketball court, this is all inside the house, like a games room with all the like the old Daytona games and the motorbike games, and then there was like a spa room with heated beds, like heated chairs, and then there's it was 3 levels. It was ridiculous. It was
Yeah.
yeah.
So basically, what we would do is we would split our time between getting together and having a blast, and then all sitting down and taking notes from the people in our tribe that are doing the very best, having the most success. And so those people, one by one, go up and speak to everybody about what they're doing to help everyone have more success. I guess, you know, the way I used to think would be, well, why would anyone want to share what they're doing? You know, don't they want to keep all that success to themselves? But that's the beauty of this is, no, not really. The more successful the entire community is, the more successful everyone is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's a good that's a good way to build any kind of relationships right there, you know,
Sure.
through mutual, you know, mutual aid, you know, kind of like a collective community feeling, you know. I think that's just a better way than our modern.
I mean, that's how nature itself operates.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's decentralized, you know, it's a decentralized system, and that's, you know.
Yeah.
It's it's like you know, I don't think it's quite, you know, it's not utopia, it's not perfect, but it's sure a hell of a lot better. Like for us, it's, you know, it's sure a hell of a lot better than going and working your 9 to 5 job for someone who really doesn't give 2 shits about you. And you know, it's just, but it's a way, I guess, for us to take our life into our own hands. And
It's very empowering.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see how it would be just personally empowering. You know, you really are taking your future into your hands. You're taking your just your life, your your existence into your own control. You know, and you're not being jerked around by, you know, a system like you said. You know, they don't give a fuck about you. You know, they really don't. And it must be empowering, you know, to make your own decisions that way and to kind of make your own way.
That's something that I actually realized at the beginning of 2012 is when it started to happen. But Brad over here, he's like, well, call it what you want, an awakening, whatever. I'm not shy about it. It was a full-on spiritual awakening. It was so like immediate, and I just my life transformed almost overnight, and I realized my purpose on this planet. I realized that I was born so that I can help spread light, just spread awareness to people, help them to wake them up from like this like zombie dream that I think most people are in, at least to some extent, and to just start living again and to start thinking for ourselves, and to question everything that we're told. You know, we don't have to be walking around paranoid of everything, but to not just take something as truth just because somebody says so. And it's it's really exciting to be able to have people listen and to be able to make such a huge impact in so many people's lives to help spread change.
No, yeah, then that's great. And what a positive experience that is, when you have that realization, something just clicks inside your head,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think that's, part of I think there are elements within our culture that are slowly realizing this, and there's more and more, there's other people doing what you guys are doing. There's other people who are taking their lives in their hands and going out, doing sustainable agriculture, doing intentional communities, doing permaculture, removing themselves from, this system. And it's part of, I think, a cultural awakening that we're having as individuals and as groups.
Yeah, it's a total movement.
Absolutely, and it's growing and growing, and it makes me so happy to see that. Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah. Every day there's good news about, like, there's a whole bunch of little wins that are happening at the moment, and it's definitely headed in the right direction. I don't think they're going to stop it.
Exactly. And it's really, it's our responsibility to be out there spreading the word on that. You know what I mean? You guys are doing it. It's it's good. It's a great thing.
And another thing, since I'm on, since there's people listening out there, I just want to say one of the biggest things that helped transform my life was to stop watching television, because it's just very, very it conditions us. And if we want to live life to our fullest potential and to really, like, be free, we have to start with our minds. And so just stopping watching television altogether was one of the best decisions that I've made.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that is a good thing. You can't be getting all the media constantly. You know what I mean? This rush of media, especially on television, because it's just, I don't know. There isn't a whole lot of depth to television.
There's a lot of negativity, and it's just a lot of fear-based things.
Sure.
And it's like all these subconscious things too that you may not even realize that you're being programmed for. It's great to get away from it.
Yeah, exactly. And it is indoctrinating. It puts little levers and buttons in your head, and they reach out and they pull those levers and push those buttons, and they get responses. I mean, that's what the mass media does. It's what it's there for.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's why it exists. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's all things are changing. They're moving in the right direction. I mean, for me, I always say, like, have woken up from where I was, and to actually see the big picture. It's like, if I could wake up, like, there's definitely something going on. Like, people must be starting to wake up.
Right, yeah, sure. It's not just like, like we were talking about earlier, it's not just the people, fringe people anymore. You know what I mean? It's everyday people, are just waking up and saying, this is not the life that I want to live.
Well, people are just reaching that point, People are like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
I've even noticed that there's like a tiny house movement going on.
Yeah, that's some really interesting stuff. Yeah,
And they make the most beautiful, beautiful little homes out of these mobile homes that people just set on a piece of land, and they can take it with them anywhere they want to go, put it on wheels. And yeah, it's just like, I think a lot of these people build these cute little homes for like $10,000, which is pretty like awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can do stuff like that very cheaply now. I mean, it's really cool. The tiny house movement's really cool. The Earthship movement, which is another kind of sustainable housing movement.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do, is build Earthships on our community.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're you're definitely gonna have to stay in touch with me on that because I've been wanting to go down to South America for a long time, and that would be great.
Mm.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's funny how things work. Like um,
The
how
synchronicities.
synchronicities. How like the universe, I guess, works. Like you meet people who are just totally aligned with where you are at and what you believe, and you know what I mean. Like even when
Right after we made the decision that we want to check out Belize to live there, we ended up meeting a couple that's in our tribe at the mastermind, and they too want to go to Belize, and they're so much like us, and we already have friends now to meet up with when we go down there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. You're right. The synchronicity is just amazing. Once you really dedicate yourself to something, it seems like everything just falls into place.
Yeah, it's like basically when you what I found is when you open your heart and you just do whatever excites you the most on any given day in any given moment, the more you do that, it doesn't matter who you are, the more you do that, the more you're going to be aligned with your true purpose, and therefore the more synchronistic things that you'll notice happening in your life that you're just like, oh wow, thanks universe, that I could really use this right now.
Sure.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, it is.
But you got to have the courage, and that's the big thing. And I think that's where you guys are really important. You guys are examples that it can be done, that you could take the jump and take the risk and make it work,
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to you've always got that voice in your head, and sometimes it even like now that we're actually doing it, sometimes it's still there. It's like what if it fails and it all goes pear-shaped, but then I'm just like just brush it aside, like there's no point wondering like what if. You focus on like positive things that are going to lead you to your end goal, I guess. And you just stay focused and steps daily. Start off with baby steps and then steps daily, and then before you know it, things are happening. And that's that's how we done it. And the voice is always going to be there. That what if, but it's like, what if you don't? What if you don't do it, and you're stuck in this life that you hate? What if you don't do it for another 5 years?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, guys, I think we're coming close to the end of the hour here. Why don't you guys give us your contact information and where people can like reach you and look at some of your content?
Yeah, no worries. Well, you can post it at the bottom of the of your podcast as well.
Yeah, we'll do that.
It's www.facebook.com/the traveling family page. No spaces or anything like that. Just all lowercase. And that's our Facebook page. And our website is www.the-traveling-family.com. So that's our website. We're in the process of building that properly now. We've got a lot of photos up so far, but we're going to just basically add a new page for every sort of adventure that we go on. And then you can get in contact with us on that page or on our Facebook page. And we've got plenty of photos there. We post daily. And then you can also have a link to our blog from those websites.
Great.
Awesome.
Yeah, Brad, Christine, it's been really fun talking to you guys tonight.
Yeah, appreciate your time, guys.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. And at some point we'll check back in with you and stay in touch, and we'll do it again.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. And thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Good luck.
And thanks out there to everybody who's listeing.
Thanks,
Hope you
guys.
got something from this.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone. Free Radical Media Podcast.